going on, everyone? This is Josh with Josh Likes Kicks, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about sneaker storage options. Say that 3 times fast, right? So when I first started collecting, had no intention of ordering any kind of additional sneaker boxes. I just thought, hey, I'll just keep them in their boxes, and it's cool, and it didn't work. So I ran into a lot of the same problems that you've heard from countless people, whether it's Instagram or YouTube or whatever. How in the world do you keep your collection safe? How do you keep it out of the sun's rays? And how do you quickly grab a sneaker when you want to just throw something on and leave the house, or you're planning to leave, or you want to do whatever, you want to take a picture of your collection, whatever the case may be? How do you display it? How do you organize it? And how do you keep it nice and clean? Well, for me, I started looking at a couple of different options. And today in the review, what you're going to see is one option from SupBro and another option from a company that I found on Amazon called KTZ. Now, each of these boxes has their distinct pros and cons, and I'm going to show you a breakdown of each one individually here in just a second. For me, it boiled down to 2 things. The first was affordability, and the second was availability. When I first started ordering from SupBro, you had to order it 2 at a time, and I ordered 2 just to see what the quality was like and whether or not, frankly, I liked them. Well, I did, and then when I went to order some more, they were out of stock, and they've been out of stock now for about the last 5 months. When I went to KTZ, similar in situation, but I can order from Amazon, and there were multiple sellers. So I ordered them. Unfortunately, had some quality control issues with the 3rd batch of my order, but you can order from a single all the way through 16 items at a time. Now, when you get up to the 16 items, just be aware, for the folks of you that are in the US, $68.88 to ship these things. Absolutely astronomical, and it massively adds to the cost of your item. Now, if you're in England or anywhere outside of the United States, I have firsthand knowledge from my friend Aiden. ACS Sneakers, by the way. If you haven't checked him out on Instagram and YouTube, do so. The man is awesome and his channel is great. Aiden told me that you cannot find the KTZ on Amazon in the UK. So for the folks of you who may be watching this overseas, I'd be really curious to hear from you in the comments of what you have, what you've ordered, and how you keep your sneaker collection safe. So without further ado, let's get into the review. So we'll start first with the KTZ shoe storage container. Now, I found these on Amazon. This is the D style in black. These also come in clear. And a few of the pros about these. First, as you can see here, these 2 dots are actually magnets. They have a very easy pull tab at the top. Super easy to open. Got a pair of Travis Scott Jordan 6s in there. Plenty of clearance for the high tops, and that's part of the reason why I chose the D style. They have a B style, which is more for I believe women's shoes or smaller sneakers, and the D style is meant for high tops and larger sneakers. Now, I wear a men's US size 13, and you can see there's plenty of room in here for the shoe on either side, top and bottom. Both sneakers are in there, fits quite nicely. Taking them in and out is pretty easy. Now, this is a 5-piece plastic construction, very simple to put together, takes a couple of minutes. I have a couple of gripes though. If you notice, it took just a bit of an extra push there to close the magnets. In fact, on some of the recent orders that I've had, I've been ordering anywhere between 2 and 4 at a time. I did have a big order of 12. These can come in quantities up to 16, and that was honestly a big selling point for me. But on the recent batch that I actually had to super glue the magnets back into place. Now, I thought that was really strange, and maybe it was a product defect. I didn't really take it up with anybody. I was frankly just happy to have them. These have been out of stock on Amazon, like a lot of things that are sourced out of China here recently, given all the concerns with COVID. So, pros, they fit a size 13 high top. I mean, that's a big one for me right there. Cons, quality control is a little off. Maybe I just got a bad batch. It's entirely possible, but realistically, I would say that of the 20 or so of these that I have, about half of them had some issues with the magnets and didn't close all the way. You can even see now, I had to push it back in again there. These are stackable. If you notice the top, it will fit on the bottom of another one. There's a little groove, if you could see that, on the bottom where you can stack these. I have them stacked about 7 tall right now, and I'm not having any issues. And frankly, that was another big selling point for me over something from maybe the Container Store that has the pull tab right here in the middle. it doesn't make everything wobble. This is actually pretty sturdy plastic. And when they're stacked up about 7 high, if I want to grab a sneaker from the middle, the whole thing doesn't shift and move, and you really don't have to do anything more than just use one finger to open it up there. So overall, this is the KTZ Limited D-Style in black. Again, you can find these on Amazon. Link is in the description. You guys can see just a brief photo that I've included here of where to find these on Amazon. So the second sneaker box option that I have for my collection is from SupBro. Now, if you guys have spent any time on YouTube and you've looked at any sneaker box videos, you know there's a fairly popular YouTuber that has a full review of these, completely replaced his Container Store collection, and decided to go with SupBro exclusively. I watched that video, and I thought, you know what? This is the direction that I want to go. From a pricing perspective, SupBro versus KTZ Limited, the price is very comparable. I believe the difference at the time that I ordered them was less than $1 a box. These come in a package of 2. So when I placed my first order, I of course got a package of 2, and I thought, this is where I'm going to keep my more expensive and more exclusive sneakers. So as you can see, Travis Scott Jordan 6s are sitting in there, and they stay in there most of the time. So, very similar in opening to the KTZ Limited box. It's a US men's size 13. They fit in here. There's not a lot of clearance. In fact, the legit tag here from SneakerCon actually touches the plastic opening. So the main difference between the KTZ and these SupBro boxes is that the SupBro boxes are long, whereas the KTZ are wide. The display of your sneakers is completely different. Of course, I can see the Cactus Jack logo. I can see the Nike Air. I get my legit tag in here, but I don't see the profile of the sneaker. It's also a little bit more opaque than what the other box is, and this is the only option that SupBro had at the time of order. When I went back to place a second order for additional boxes in a much larger quantity, I was met with a sold out symbol on their website. And in fact, after checking back for the last 5 months, they've been sold out consistently for 5 months. Things I like about these, honestly, I think the box is constructed extremely well. The magnets are very crisp, they're very sharp. I had no quality issues whatsoever. The front here is crystal clear, but I do believe that over time, if I were to have these near a window, or if I were to have them anywhere near any kind of direct sunlight, as you can see straight down in there. And in fact, the sunlight might negatively affect the quality of the sneakers over time. Also, sourcing when you're a sneakerhead and you're collecting is a big issue. If I can only order 2 at a time and very inconsistently, I don't really know if this is something that I want to wait for. I have 30 sneakers at this point, and only half of them are in boxes, so I need to make a decision fairly quickly. Is everything worth putting in a sneaker container? Probably not. It's not rare, valuable, or expensive, or anything that I would honestly want to make sure that I'm protecting. Some of those you just kind of throw in a shoe rack and you go about your day because they're daily wear. But when it comes to some of the higher quality things, I wish I could get more of these SupBro boxes because I do appreciate their quality. However, for me, leaning towards the KTZ just because of display quality. I like seeing the side profile of my sneakers. It lets me quickly glance at maybe what I want to match with an outfit or what sneaker I want to grab, and it also allows me to organize. My Air Max 90s are with my 90s, my Jordan 3s and 4s and 5s are all grouped together, and that's something I can do because I can order quantity on the KTZ Limited. So this is the SupBro box. Again, link in the description. You can check them out for yourself. Unfortunately, the last time I checked, they were still sold out of these boxes. Although I will give them some kudos. They have a second sneaker box that has a light-up LED display, and frankly, that's just pretty cool. So now that I've reviewed each box individually, I thought I'd give you guys a side-by-side. Here, again, KTZ. Here, the SupBro. You can see the branding on the front there. Overall, you know, each box has pros and cons, and I think that this really does boil down to a personal choice. Keeping the Travis Scott theme here, as you guys can see, I wanted to go with quantity in this circumstance because I am trying to organize all of my sneakers, and I have 30 pairs at the moment, and my collection is growing pretty quickly month by month. Jordan and Yeezy, everybody, man, the releases lately have been crazy, and I've won a couple of drops, and I just don't like leaving the sneakers out and having to possibly get stepped on, or the kids mess with them or anything like that. So I do want to keep these in cases, and I want to keep them up off the ground and protected and away from all the elements and everything else. So for me right now, even though I've had some quality issues with the KTZ orders, I'm leaning more towards the KTZ. just because I know I can go on Amazon literally right this moment and order 16 of these boxes and have them in a week. On the SupBro side of things, if they were back in stock, I would have ordered them by now. And I think that using the SupBro to keep some of the sneakers, especially some of your higher end ones, it's kind of nice, but overall, I'm leaning more towards the KTZ. From an affordability perspective, you're paying about $20 a box, and so it's not for the faint of heart. Now, could you go to the Container Store and order a bunch of sneaker boxes and do your thing? Yes. And is that what a lot of people do? Absolutely. And economies of scale do come into play. For me, this is a personal choice. And I think that when you're able to, when you're investing and collecting a hobby, just like sneaker collecting is, whether it's comic books, Magic the Gathering cards, or any other hobbies that you may have, the important thing is to keep your collectibles safe, keep them free from dust, from dirt, from grime, from kids stepping on them, or people throwing toys at them, or whatever the case may be. And I think for me right now, the KTZ box is kind of winning this battle. Would love to hear your comments. Let me know what y'all think. So there you guys have it. Two very distinct options, one from SupBro, one from KTZ Limited, one you can order on Amazon, and another one that frankly is out of stock more often than not. Both have their pros. Each has their cons. A lot of it boils down to personal preference. Many of you have told me that you use the Container Store boxes for the simple fact that they're affordable, they're stackable, and that you really are just kind of throwing it in a box and you don't want to spend a ton of money on the boxes themselves. You'd rather spend the money on the sneakers. Totally respect that opinion. And absolutely, I have considered it myself. When I went into the Container Store, just like I mentioned in my first video, it didn't feel sturdy. And the stackability to me was something I knew over time I was going to accumulate a whole bunch of sneakers. So when it comes to Container Store, affordability versus other options like KTZ or SupBro right here, what does everybody want to choose? And I really do think it boils down to personal preference. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What do you use for your collection? What did you think of the review based on everything that I showed you? Is there something else that you want to see? Maybe a little more in-depth on each of the individual boxes. Either way, love to hear from everybody. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, would love a follow. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks, and I'll talk to you soon.